All right, praise y'all. We're back. Right now, we're in Google Books. Sorry, I gotta get my notes real quick. We're reading from the book Biblical Myths and Their Parallels in Other Religions. All right, by Thomas William Doane. I believe this book it's from 1882, published in 1882. All right,
I thought maybe I wasn't
sorry.
enough to tell.
Sorry, y'all.
And I didn't tell.
I wanted some music to play. Sorry. All right, we're gonna get into it. The Buddhists, and indeed all the sects of India, mark their followers on the head with the sign of the cross. This was undoubtedly practiced by almost all heathen nations, as we have seen in chapter of Eucharis, that the initiates into the heathen mysteries was marked in that manner. The ancient Egyptians adored the cross with the profoundest veneration. This sacred symbol is to be found on many of their ancient monuments, some of which may be seen at the present day in the British Museum. So we're saying that for all you Christians out there, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to show you that your symbol is being used throughout all these religions that y'all claim is pagan. Okay, y'all claim it's pagan, but the same symbols have been used through these pagan cultures that y'all claim are pagan, which are the commonest of all Egyptian crosses, the crux ansata, was adopted by the Christians. Thus, beside one of the Christian inscriptions at File, or however you say that, a celebrated island lying in the midst of the Nile, is seen both a Maltese cross and a cross ansata. Okay, so the Egyptians definitely had crosses, and we know about the Ankh. When the Savior Osiris is representing holding out the crux ansata to a mortal, it signifies that the person to whom he presents it has put off mortality and entered on the life to come. All right. The Greek cross and the cross of saints. So the Greeks had a cross. All right. The Greeks had a cross too. Let me try to find paragraphs. Oh, I think I forgot that the Buddhists. Did I read that the Buddhists, they used the Buddhists indeed? Yeah, I think that's where I started. The Buddhists and indeed all sects of India mark their followers on the head with the sign of a cross. Okay. It is related by the ecclesiastical historian Socrates and Sazemon that when the temple at Alexander and Kemet was demolished by one of the Christian emperors, beneath the foundation was discovered a cross, okay, in the temple of Serapis. We're going to get into all of that. Okay, let me go ahead and get this out the way. It should be remembered in connection with this that the Emperor Hadrian saw no difference between the worshippers of Serapis and the worshippers of Christ Jesus, or CJ. And in the letter to Council Servanus, he says, there are there in Egypt Christians who worship Serapis and devoted to Serapis as followers who call themselves bishops of Christ. Okay? So we're going to find out who this Serapis was shortly. Okay, let me try to find what I'm looking for. Okay, the ancient Babylonians adorned the cross as a religious symbol. So even the Babylonians had a cross. I'm trying to find some stuff. The ensigns and standards carried by the Persians during the wars with Alexander was a cross, were made in the form of a cross. Okay, so even the Persians had a cross. All right. Let me try to find what I'm looking for. And we shouldn't play games. We know who the cross represents. Okay. On some of the early coins of the Phoenicians, the cross is found attached to the chaplet of beads placed in a circle so as to form a complete rosary or Catholicism. So the Phoenicians, even the Phoenicians had crosses. So all y'all Christians, the ancient Etruscans had revered the cross as a religious emblem. So all of you Christians out there who come upon this, I'm showing you, your symbol is a pagan symbol. There's no way you can deny it. The cross was adored by the ancient Greeks and the Romans centuries before the Augustine era. Okay? Alright, I think that's it for this. Yeah, I think that's it for that. Alright, now we're at The Evolution of Man, His Religious Systems and Social Customs by William Wright Hartwick. This is an 1899 book. Alright, where we're gonna start. Okay. The temples of Jupiter, Amun, and Apollo and Kemet, of Adonis and Isis in Phoenicia, of Dionysus in Greece, and of Bacchus in Rome were again filled with devotees. Miracles were again performed, and priestly powers and influence increased, so that in about half a century, the civilizing influence and the intellectual progress of the Ptolemies appeared to be destroyed. On Europe was once again given over to darkness and superstition. Okay. For many centuries, there had been an order of ascetic monks and anchorites, called by the Egyptians Essenes, by the Greeks Therapeutae, and by the Hebrews Nazarites. But these abounded in the Thebaid of Egypt, the deserts and rocky plains of Arabia, Petrea, and the barren hills of Syria, having monasteries in different parts. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Having monasteries in different parts, besides missions stationed in distant countries such as Rome, Corinth, Galatia, Ephesus, Philippi, Colossae, and Thessalonica. Okay. So it happened to be that these Essenes, maybe, these monks, they had outposts in Rome, Corinth, Galatia, Ephesus, Philippi, Colossae, and Thessalonica. So were these Gnostic outposts, you know what I'm saying, for they to spread this secret wisdom, this knowledge, and somehow it ends up over here with the back of the book. It's all up in here. Interesting. But let's keep reading. They traveled about preaching and performing miracles by magic, in which arts they were adepts, greatly to the wonderment of the ignorant and the credulous country people. The Gnostics and the Manduates or Baptists that were sects of these, John being the leader of the latter. Those converted from Judaism were called Ebionites. Okay? So wait a minute. Gnostics and Mandates or Baptists. Gnostics, Baptists. Huh? So these Gnostics and these Baptists, are they the same people? Huh. Let me see where we going next. Alright. Sorry. There's some good stuff on here. I gotta find it. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Okay. Catholic Church. Let me see where I'm gonna start. Okay. Who is with a Carmelite ministry near Nazareth, and who called and is seen by the Jews, had been a monk and a member of their order. They were adepts. Yeah, that's what. They were adepts also in the art of divination by rods, serpents, and snakes were favorite subjects for performing upon. And these could be rendered as rigid as a stick by compressing their necks, which when properly done causes a cataclysmic stiffness. The sacred snake of India and Egypt is a viper of a subgenus Naja and has a loose skin under its neck which can swell out at will. Now, what they're gonna say is that, oh, Moses, see, it says in the New Testament that Moses learned the ways of the Egyptians, so the Egyptians and all of, he was doing Egyptian magic. Really? Let's see about this. I think it's Exodus. Sorry, y'all. Okay, here we go. Exodus 4. And Moshe answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, Yahuwah have not appeared unto thee. And Yahuwah said unto him, what is in thy hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from it. So if this is after Moses left Egypt. So if he was trained in all the manners of Egypt, he shouldn't have been afraid of that. He should have been, okay, that's what we was doing back in the day. I'm cool with that, y'all. Shit, you my man. But he was scared. And Yah said unto Moshe, put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. What did it say? It said they took it by their neck. Yeah. Compress their necks. So you see, they're trying to put, just like it said in Maccabees, they're trying to put their image onto what's, you know what I'm saying, onto our culture. That's what they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's keep reading. Because there's some good stuff in there. They were worshipers of Isis and Serapis, the idol of the sacred bull Apis, and a representative of Osiris, and the Theban, Phoenician, Assyrian, and Hebrew Yahu, which is bull. And we're going to get into that later. I'm going to disprove that. Okay, we already read about the Emperor Hadrian and his confession, his scene that people who worship Christ worship Serapis, people who worship Serapis worship Christ. It's one and the same. All right. Sorry, I need to check my notes for 1 second. Sorry. Oh shit, I lost my place. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. There are there in Egypt Christians. Okay, so we already read that. Okay, they had, like the Persians, Mithricists, or Zoroastrians, a full hierarchy similar to that observed in the present Catholic Church. So, what? These freaking Essenes were like Catholics? Is that what we're saying? These Gnostics were like Catholics? Okay, they consist of bishops, priests, deacons, exorcists, etc. And their doctrine and belief were a mixture of ancient Buddhism, Mithraism. The Persian sun worship had ecclesiastical constitutions and a hierarchical order of baptism, confirmation, confirmation, paradise, and hell 2,000 years before Christianism arose. Osirianism, Judaism, and the eclectic philosophy of Philo. Jesus was a member of this sect. Though, they're going to say, though like Moses, who lived in the reign of Egyptian king Amenophis, he was educated by the priests at the temple of Serapis. Okay. Alright, so we're about at, well, we got a couple more minutes. Let's just keep going. Okay, let's try to get, I think this is the, yeah, this is it. Okay, this is a good paragraph right here. Let's start. It was at this time when the Ptolemaic period of education and enlightenment was declining and the old pagan superstitions were reviving that a Messiah was expected. An avatar by the Jews, which, well, the Jews could have expected him, but not Yasharal. And a Buddha by the Buddhists. Okay, the former looked for one every 600 years. Gautama, the Buddha, had announced that a Buddha would descend from heaven and would be called the Son of Love. His historical evidence of the appearance of a Messiah called GOCC at or near the time of Christians assert to be the commencement of the Christian era, being absent and no corroborative evidence of any of the events recorded of him being forthcoming. We are forced to the conclusion that no such person existed, and to take this the only view of the case that is left, which singularly enough fits in most remarkable with the details as given in the life of the mythical persona mentioned in the New Testament, mentioned in the abominable New Testament. The Essene monks, seeing how the faith, the old worship, okay, the old worship, remember the old days, remember, and the power of the priest had declined, and the memory of the miracles wrought by the gods had become, by the idols had become effaced, and in order to counteract the work of the philosophers and convinced and conceive the idea of, okay, the philosophers, they conceived the idea of teaching the messiahship of a man who had lived many years before, but who had by his preaching gathered a people and were called after him Yessians. This man, according to Celsus, was a young Nazarite or Nazarene, not Nazarene, nor any connection with Nazareth, called Joshua, or Joshua ben Pandara, born in Syria about BC 1. Wait, what? This person is actually called Joshua. So that's why that dude who was debating Rob Rack, what he kept saying, there ain't no such thing as Jesus. It's Joshua. Okay, it's something else. It's something. I know we're running long, but it's so much. Where is it at? It's say, God, where is it at? Where is it at? All right, let me go ahead and end this, and I'll just find what I'm looking for and come back on that. All right, shalom.